Alright, what's up, everybody? Back with another episode of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good day. And today is the power rankings episode. Today, the whole episode is gonna be power ranking every NBA team right before the end of All Star break, right at the end of the All Star break. Um, yeah. So I took in consideration is where the team is at now, of course, but also a lot of these are some more projection type, projecting what the second half is going to be like and what I think the expectations for this team are, and what I think the second half of the year, what is going to happen. Of course, some of these teams haven't really fully gotten to the groove of things with, the trade deadline happening, and there's a lot of teams that haven't even had some guys play that are going to be core parts of their team. And we don't know what's going to happen. But right now, this is my power rankings of the NBA at the All Star break. We're going to go through every team. And yeah, that's gonna be it basically for the entire episode. So let's get right into it. We're starting it at number 30, going up to one. So the worst team, number 30 in the Everyday Hoops power rankings, are the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets, they're 13 and 45, the worst record in the NBA, last in the Western Conference. Some team stats for them: they're last in points per game, field goal percentage, 28th in field goals made, 29th in 3-point percentage. Um, Randomly, they're the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA, I guess. I mean, they're young, they just go after it. Fourth in rebounds per game. They're tied for 28th in assists. They're average the most turnovers in the NBA. They're last in offensive rating, 28th in defensive rating, 29th in net rating, the worst effective field goal percentage, and 29th in true shooting percentage. Yeah, I mean, what's expected. They're all very young. They have no vets on their team. Everyone on their team is just trying to figure out the NBA, and they kind of just play like an AAU style basketball where there's not really a fortified game plan. It's just young dudes going out there and whatever happens. You know. But yeah, they're 30th. They're in prime position to get Wemby, which is what they wanted to be. So they're pulling off what they wanted to do. They're just they've gotten a lot more fun to watch. Especially last year and earlier in the year, they just were not fun. They were just very, very bad. You know. But honestly, I can enjoy watching them. Jalen Green has the opportunity to pop off some nights, and we've seen some 40-point performances from him. We also seen some very bad shooting nights from him, but it's expected when he's a young player, young scorer in the league. Still trying to figure his way out. Gotten some good moments with Ken Porter Jr. before his injury. Alperen Sengun has really shined. Kenny Martin Jr. has been very good this year. Their top pick, Jabari Smith, has been solid this year. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. He's just been kind of okay. And yeah, this team is still in a prime of the rebuild. Still going to be very bad, probably next year as well. Um, and yeah, they're just trying to get a top pick, really, in this draft. That's what it is. And yeah, that's really it. We don't have to spend too much time on the teams at the bottom. 29th, we got the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are 14 and 45, 14th in the Western Conference. Some stats: they're 24th in points per game, 25th in 3-point percentage. They're another good offensive rebounding team, 5th in offensive rebounds per game, but they're 28th in defensive rebounds per game, 4th in assists, 27th in turnovers. They have the 20th rated offense and the worst defense rating in the league. They're also the worst net rating. They're 28th in true shooting percentage. This defense is horrible. Watching this team, this defense is very horrible. This is the new era of the Spurs where they're rebuilding, going after Wemby, very young. Their offense isn't bad, which is why they kind of been watchable. Keldon Johnson has taken some stats and been very good. Devin Vassell hasn't even barely played this year, but he has played. He looked really good. Jeremy Sohan's had some good moments. Trey Jones has become a really good point guard. Zach Collins has had kind of revival of the year. They even have rookies like Malachi Branham can go off. And he's been very solid recently. Um, yeah, they have some very intriguing pieces on this team. But I feel like honestly, if there's one team that I want Wemby to go to and I could pick where Wemby could go, I would pick San Antonio. I feel like they're the only team that doesn't really have a top piece that can be an all-star. Even the Rockets have Jalen Green, who potentially can be all-star, really good player. Detroit has Cade Cunningham, Jane Ivey. Charlotte has LaMelo. I feel like San Antonio is the only team that doesn't really have that future all-star piece. Like their best player is Keldon Johnson, was very good. I really like Keldon Johnson, but I don't see him as a future all-star piece to a team, So I feel like the only team that doesn't have that. And so I feel like Victor Wembanyama would be perfect for San Antonio. And I feel like that's the team I kind of want to see him go to the most. Um, but yeah, the Spurs right now, the 29th in my power rankings. They're stuck defensively. They have some intriguing pieces, and they're young. They're trying to lose, and they're doing that successfully. They're staying in games, but then folding at the end, which is what they want. So they're completing what they want to do very well. Now 28. I have the Detroit Pistons. They're 15-44, the worst in the East. They're 25th in points per game, 28th in field goal percentage. They're the best free throw shooting team. They're first in free throws made and free throws attempted, even though percentage wise they're like middle of the pack. But they get to the free throw line a lot. The 26th in assists, the 27th rated offense, 29th defense, 28th in net rating. Kind of a disappointing year because Kate Cunningham only played a few games at the start of the year and was looking really good, but then he had a shin injury. He'll be out for the rest of the year. Um, and this year was kind of a lot of people expecting maybe to make a plane push potentially, but then with Kate Cunningham going down, it kind of foiled all those plans, and then them trading away Sadiq Bey. I wasn't a fan of that, but they've had some bright spots. Bojan Bogdanovic has been amazing this season, and they signed to an extension. He can help them make a play and push next year, which I'm assuming they would want to do. I really like Jaden Ivey. I think he's gonna be really good. He's had some moments. Jalen Duran has been great this season. Isaiah Stewart has actually been solid this year. They got vets like Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel. They've been good. Killian Hayes is whatever. Killian Hayes had like 2 weeks of being really good, and now he's back to kind of what we were expecting to see from him. But yeah, the Detroit Pistons, um, injuries have held them back a lot. They really suck again this year. But they're a team that's definitely in the next year or two, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be a team like what OKC's doing right now. They're gonna make a play and push. They have the talent to do it. They're gonna have another very talented player coming in this draft. Um, Hopefully it's a wing, maybe like a Brandon Miller or Cam Whitmore type of player, because I feel like they're already good with their guards, and then their bigs are solid. They have Duran in there. Maybe they could get Wemby, but probably a wing. I would project, especially if they get like three. If they don't get one or two, then they're probably gonna go with a wing. But yeah, Detroit, they're in a good spot right now. Just lose games, grow the young talent, and we'll see what happens. Also, I feel like Dwayne Casey should be out of there. I don't know. I just don't think Dwayne Casey is the coach for this team. I wouldn't be surprised if might be his last year in Detroit. I don't know. I just feel like he should be coaching. He shouldn't be coaching this year. I feel like Detroit, this should have a young coach getting a chance to kind of show himself a little bit more, like what the Jazz have with Will Hardy. I feel like that should be the coach for this Detroit Piston team. But I mean, I don't mind it. Dwayne Casey's still a very solid coach, but I don't know. I just don't see him being coach any for that much longer in Detroit. I feel like they're gonna make a change over there. Next 27th, we have the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets are 17-43, 14th in the East. They're 23rd in points per game. They take a lot of shots. They're 4th in field goals attempted per game, but they're 27th in field goal percentage. They're the worst three-point shooting team in percentage-wise. Last in three-point percentage. 29th rated offense, 25th defense, 27th net rating. They're 29th in effective field goal percentage and the worst true shooting percentage in the league. This team just doesn't really have much going for it. They got LaMelo, who's been playing very good recently. They've had some moments in guys, like Nick Richards has really shown up. But this team is just a bunch of like nothingness, to be honest. Like all their young players, they haven't even really gotten a chance to see enough of to really say if they are, good, can be good or not. And this team is just really in a regression. The whole Miles Bridges thing that happened in the offseason really kind of changed the direction of this team. And then went from a young, promising, up and coming play and potential playoff team to like, I don't know what happens now. Probably they're just hoping for Wemby. Really, that's what it is. Watching this team, they have a lot of shot shooters. They have a lot of shot takers, but they don't have a lot of shot makers. Like LaMelo's gonna take shots. Terry Rozier's gonna take his. Kelly Oubre's gonna get his. But they don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of shot makers. Look at the stats. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they're top five in field goals attempted, but they're bottom five in field goal percentage. They're one of the worst. They're the worst shooting team in the league. Like they have a lot of shot takers, but not a lot of efficient shot makers. You know, and yeah, this team very disappointed at the deadline that they didn't trade away guys like Gordon Hayward or Kelly Oubre, Terry Rozier to get some more pieces for the future. Steve Clifford probably won't be there for much longer because Steve Clifford got in where he was supposed to be leading to a playoff push, and then of course everything happened, and now he's coaching a bottom team in the league, so he might be out of there again. And yeah, the Hornets are just in a very bad place right now, to be honest with you. Uh, okay, after the bottom four, there's a big jump that takes place. So the bottom four was kind of easy, and now we start getting into some stuff. 26th, I have the Orlando Magic. I wanted to put them higher, but then looking at the other teams above them, I was just like, I have to kind of put them here. The Magic are 24 and 35. They're the 13th team in the Eastern Conference. They're 28th in points per game. They're not a great three-point shooting team. They're 26th in three-pointers made, 27th in three-pointers attempted, 27th in assists, 25 in turnovers. They're the 25th rated offense, 19th in defense, and 25th in net rating. It kind of sucks I had to put them down there because the Magic are probably honestly one of my favorite teams to watch. Like they have so many really good young players that I really like, and they play very well as a team. They're just so young, so it's understandable that they're losing a lot of games. But ever since after like the first month and a half of the season, they've been very good. Especially heading into All Star break, they were really good. Right now I feel like they're kind of a little bit too far back to make a play-in push, but I think they're definitely setting up for a year like next year where they can get another really solid piece in the draft and get another year older, maybe get a veteran or two in there, and I can definitely see them making a play-in push in the Eastern Conference next year. I mean, they have so many guys I really like watching. Paulo Banchero is probably winning Rookie of the Year. He's come in and been fantastic. Franz Wagner is really, really good. Wendell Carter has taken another step in Orlando. Markel Fultz has become a very good player. Cole Anthony's been a really good six man. Jalen Suggs is very, very slowly starting to find his role. Bol has been a delight. Jamal Mosley, I love him as a coach. And I just love the way they play. They play like a team. They have really good young players that are going to be very good in the league. And they're all together. They're all building together. Jamal Mosley's the perfect coach for this team. And I think next year, I would like to see him be more competitive and maybe make a play and push in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, right now they're 26, but they're supposed to be. They're young and up and coming. 25th, I have the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are 26 and 34. They're 12th in the East. They're 15th in points per game, 25th in field goal percentage, 6th in three-pointers made, 7th in assists, 3rd in blocks because they have a lot of big men. The 23rd rated offense and 23rd rated defense, and the 26th in net rating. I kind of wanted to put Indiana higher, and I was really thinking about putting Indiana higher, just because we're taking the whole season into account. Before the Tyrese Halliburton injury, they were like 6th, 7th in the East, firmly in the playoff picture, and they were really good. Then the Tyrese Halliburton injury happens, they have a stretch and they go like 1-10 or 1-11. They fall all the way down to like 11th, and then Tyrese Halliburton comes back and they don't look that much better, and they fall to 12th in the Eastern Conference. But so it was good where it lasted. Good where it lasted. They thought we are gonna be a definite playoff team, and now they're back near the bottom. But I mean, they have so much to be excited about. Tyrese Halliburton has turned into an all-star already, and he looks like he's gonna be an all-star for the next few years to come. Bending Mathurin is in the conversation for Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man of the Year. He's been very, very, very good. Andrew Nemhard looks like a very solid player. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner both have been very, very good as role players. Aaron Neesmith has showed some stuff. Yeah, they have a really good future, and they're gonna have another good pick this year where they can get another piece to add to that puzzle. And yeah, I think the Pacers don't have. I know they could be mad that they're not gonna make a play-in push, but they don't have a lot more things to be mad about this season because they have seen a lot of players improve, develop, and it kind of gives them more confidence coming into next year. Like, hey, last year, before Tyrese got hurt, we we are in the playoffs, and if Tyrese never got hurt, they're probably still like a 7th or 8th seed in the East. So that gives them a lot more confidence coming in next year. Like, hey, we can just stay on it like this the whole year. We can be in the playoffs. So yeah, Indiana's got a lot to be excited about for the upcoming future. 24th, I got the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are 26-33, 11th in the East. They're 20th in points. They're really high, 6th in field goal percentage. They're one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. They're last in 3-pointers made and 3-pointers attempted. They're 28th in offensive rebounds. They have the 29th rated offense. Oh no, 24th, sorry, rated offense. But they're 7th in defense. They're 22nd in net rating. I said this a few episodes ago, but I feel like this team is a definition of just eh. Like, they're not great, they're not good, but they're not horrible and bad. They're just kind of like, whatever. Like, the roster, the way they play is just whatever. Like, they've been very disappointing this season. Zach LaVine's been very on and off, with the injuries and stuff. DeMar DeRozan's been good. He was an all-star. Vucevic just kind of turned it up. Has a little bit of moments from Patrick Williams, but then again, we still want him to be a little bit more consistent. Their bench is kind of, besides Alex Caruso, they don't really have much off the bench. They don't shoot a lot of threes. Their defense is pretty good, but their offense is just very stagnant. And they take a lot of weird. They don't take a lot of threes. They take a lot of mid ranges and just very weird shots, And this was a team that didn't do anything at the trade deadline, even though they were like the 10th seed in the East. Didn't do anything at the trade deadline, and came into All Star on a 5-game losing streak. So yeah, probably the last year we're gonna see of this team together. A lot of people want, and I want to see a kind of another rebuild of this team. It was fun while it lasted. It was really fun. They were number 1 seed at one point, but it's just you got to look at this team and just know it's not gonna work. This team is just not really well constructed. There's not many things they can do to make it better. With this fit, and it's not like any of their top players like DeMar, Zach, or Vucevic are getting any younger. So I feel like it's kind of time to just give it up. We made the playoffs once, but this team, we're not gonna make the playoffs again if we don't do anything. So just rebuild and let's get it going again. Will it happen? I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen, because I feel like that's the Bulls are just gonna try to be that team where it's like, as long as we get into the play-in, as long as we get the 8th seed, we're good. We'll keep it like this for another 3 years just to get to that 8th spot and be in the playoffs. But it's not gonna be fun. Yeah, this team isn't fun. 23rd, we have the Portland Trailblazers at 28-30, 12th in the Western Conference. They're 12th in points per game, 25th in rebounds, 29th in steals. They have the 5th rated offense. Look at their offensive numbers are really good, but the 27th rated defense. Their defense is very bad, especially when you have two guards that are like 6'2", 6'3", that can't really hold up on defense, and more offensive, shot takers. This team is probably one of the most disappointing teams, because they started the year so hot. They were the number 1 seed in the West at one point for a little while, and they just, as weeks went on, they just fell and fell and fell and fell, and now they're 12th. And we're not a lot of bright things going on. Dame is having an insane season, especially the last month or two. But it doesn't really matter. Anthony Simons is taking some steps, but he's still got some work to do. Jeremy Grant's been good, but he's recently been in and out of the lineup. Nurkic is solid. Their bench is disgusting. They don't have a bench really. Shane Sharp has shown a lot of flashes. He's been very fun, but he's still only 19, 20 years old. So he's still got a lot of stuff to work on, and after that, the bench is just nothingness. They traded away Josh Hart. They did pick up Cam Reddish, and are giving Cam Reddish an opportunity, so that's good. But yeah, this Portland team's just kind of like an team. They have looking on paper, you should think this team is definitely in the playoff, at least in the play-in. With Damian Lillard, and with the pieces like Simons, Grant, Hart surrounding him. But they're not good. It's really kind of turned into Dame carrying this team to wins at this point. Which is fun to watch Dame do his thing, but it's like, can we get any help from anywhere? Besides Grant and Simons can go off, but besides that, it's like they don't really have anything. They have no firepower besides that, and their defense is very, very bad. So unless they want to trade away Dame and rebuild this thing, like that they should do, um, they gotta find some players to play basketball off the bench, man. They gotta find some shooters and some defense. They gotta find some defense. I mean, they traded for Matisse, and he's been very solid in his few games with Portland, but they need some defense out there, man. 22nd, I got the Utah Jazz at 22. They're 29-31, 11th in the Western Conference. Their offense is really good. They're fifth in points per game, fifth in 3-pointers made, fourth on offensive rating, but they're 26th in defense, 14th in net. They've been the surprise of the season for most of the year. They started off as one of the better teams in the league and were firmly in the playoff picture after coming into this year. If you would have said they would have won more than 22, 23 games, people would have looked at you crazy. And right now they're at 29 with 30 games left. Trying maybe could make a play-in push, but I wouldn't expect. I kind of ranked them a little bit lower, just because I feel like the second half of the year they're gonna fall off and they're kind of just gonna stop caring about winning. I feel like they kind of told us that with the trades at the trade deadline when they traded away Beasley, Conley, and Vanderbilt, and only got back Russell Westbrook. They're gonna buy out some bench players and a pick. They kind of told us like, hey, it was fun while it lasted, but let's focus on draft positioning and getting our young players better. So they traded away some of their veteran players, going a lot younger. And yeah, second half of the year is probably gonna just come out and play the young guys and see what happens. If they win, cool. They make the play-in picture, awesome. Get some development. If not, that's okay. That's what we wanted. But a lot to be excited about for this team. Will Hardy's been a very solid coach. Lauri Markkanen has turned into a face of franchise type of dude in Utah. They had some moments. Walker Kessler has really been good. Jordan Clarkson, even though he might leave, he's had some moments. Ochai Agbaji, I really like. Tim Horn Tucker's had some flashes. Colin Sexton's been very solid. Their offense is still really good. But yeah, they're still young. Still don't have a real superstar besides like Markkanen, I guess. They're still trying to find their way. And the plan was to come in and tank. So they didn't do that. But, it's been a very successful season for them. They just got to keep building, keep getting young pieces and assets, and just keep it going. And hope Lauri Markkanen stays like this. At 21, I have the Toronto Raptors in here. The Raptors are 28-31, 10th in the Eastern Conference. They're 19th in points per game. They're 26th in field goal percentage, 27th in three-point percentage. Not a great shooting efficiency team, but they're 4th in offensive rebounds. They're the worst defensive rebounding team in the league. They have the least turnovers per game. They're 1st in steals, 5th in blocks, 11th offensive rating, 17th in defense, 13th in net rating, 26th in effective field goal percentage. Or 28th, in effective field goal percentage. This team was very disappointing at the trade deadline because a lot of people thought they were going to blow it up because they were having a kind of a very not disappointing season. They make a trade instead to gain to get Jakob Portal, so that kind of told us, okay, they're going to try to do this thing. They've been a little bit better. They're moved up. They're in the play-in now in the Eastern Conference. Still have a lot of work to do, to kind of try to get this team better. They have some moments. Pascal's been really good this year. OG's had some value. Gary Trent's been okay. Fred VanVleet's turned it up in the second half of the year. Still, Scotty Barnes hasn't had the sophomore year that people thought he was going to have. But he's still trying to find his way as well. Again, the depth of this team is a big question. They only really like going like 7 players deep on this team. The way this team is constructed isn't great. They don't have a lot of efficient shooting from deep out there. They have a lot of players that are kind of just stuck in like the mid-range paint area. Their players have been a little bit inconsistent this year as well. But they're in a good position because they're in the play-in, even with all that happening. So, I think they might be a team that can kind of not go on a run, but just be good the second half of the year, where they're good enough to keep it at a 9 and 10, maybe even jump to an 8 spot. I wouldn't be surprised at that because I feel like that's what the Raptors are the last few years. They're more of a second half type of team. I mean, last year they made their jump. They were from a playing team to like the 4 seed, in the second half of the year. So I think they can do something maybe, of course, not that crazy, but be similar where they can jump up to an 8 spot and be secured in there. 20, I got the LA Lakers. Now, I know they're 13th in the East, in the West. They're 27 and 32. They've been 13 forever. But this is more of a projection. This more is a more of a projection pick. They've played only a few games together with this newly constructed team, getting Russell, Beasley, Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba, and all of them, and having LeBron consistently playing the lineup. But there's been some hope, flashes of hope, and flashes of, some wins, in their future. And so I think this is definitely more of a projecting, pick at 20, at rank 20. But I think the second half Lakers, if LeBron could stay in the lineup consistently, this team could definitely go on a run and make a play and push. I mean, we've been saying that all year, how they're only 2 games out, they're only 2 games out, they're only 2 games out. But they need to do it. At the end of the day, they need to do it. We can't just keep saying what they could. They have to do it now. They have the team. LeBron is playing at an insane level for his age. AD has shown some flashes of him being back to his 2020 self when he won the championship. They have really good role players around them now. Russell, Beasley, Vanderbilt, Hachimura, Reeves, Lonnie Walker. But they have to do it. In the second half of the year, I feel like they have an amazing chance at doing it. As long as they can stay consistent with it, they don't have to win like 9 in a row. I mean, that'd be nice. But as long as they can't, if they just win the games that matter, beat the Portland Trailblazers games and the Thunder games and the Timberwolves games, if they can win just those games with the teams that they're competing against, they can make it in there. So as long as they do that, as long as they can do that at the very least, they can make it in there. It's going to be a tough challenge because of those other teams are going to be hungry as well. But I think they can do it if they really need to. Next we're going to 19. I have the Washington Wizards. 19th. They're 28 and 30, the 9th in the Eastern Conference in the play-in. Some stats: they're 18th in points per game. They're 7th in field goal percentage, 5th in defensive rebounding, and 4th in blocks. They're 14th rated off. Oh no, 19th rated offense. I'm sorry, 19th rated offense, 16th rated defense. They're 17th in net rating. They're again another very average team that I don't really know how to. I was fighting with them and some other teams that are gonna be listed in like a few minutes. They're a very weird team to kind of judge ish, because they have gone on really good win streaks and have some moments where you're like, okay, this team can make a play and push, can get an 8 seed. But then they go on runs where it's like, well, this team sucks. Like, they're just so, up and down. It's very weird, Because if you look on paper, they have a okay team. Bradley Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis alone, especially the way Kuzma and Porzingis have been playing this season, should be a play-in lock in the Eastern Conference. But then you look at the rest of the roster, and it's like, not great. And then you factor in that it's the Wizards. It's like, they're okay. They're just the definition of average. The team is a definition of just mid. Like, they're not good. They're never going to be like a top 5, top 6 team in the East. But they're also never going to be 13, 14, 15. They're just going to be around the 7 to 11 range. And they're just okay with it. They're just cool with it. As long as we make the play in, and maybe make a playoff run, or make into the playoffs, we're good. And if that's what they want, then they got it. Cause they're very average. But they're probably gonna make the plan, just because I feel like if you look at the other teams in the plan, I feel like they can just be okay in the second half of the year, and they can still make the play in. Will they win the plan? I don't know, probably not. But they'll make it in there, which is what their goal. So good on them. Now we're going to 18th. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder at 18th. They're 20 and 29, 10th in the Western Conference. Their offense is amazing. I mean, they're third in points per game. They're first in field goals attempted. I think they're the top five in field goals made. Fifth in steals per game. They're the 13th rated offense, 11th rated defense, 10th in net rating. They've been a big surprise this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has taken a big step into all-star level play. Josh Giddey has had some really good moments. Jalen Williams has been very good in his rookie season. Uh, they've just had a really good year. I really like watching them play as well. They play like a team, a lot of ball movement, a lot of cutting with guys like Kenrich Williams and Aaron Wiggins, very sound players in there. Isaiah Joe has revitalized his career as a three-point marksman. Um, Shea Giddey has taken some steps on the offensive end. Jalen Williams is one of my favorite rookies. He just does a little bit of everything on the court. Yeah, and this team has a very good chance of being a playing team. They're only one game under 500. Um, they have kind of the play style to do it with a lot of the ball movement, and they have the superstar that can go get 30 whenever he wants, and they have the good role players in the ball movement. And the really solid defense and good offense to do it. I mean, I would really like to see him do it. Get this team some more confidence. So coming into next year, they're gonna have a solid pick. They can get another good player, and they're doing all this with their number two pick not even playing, not even touching the court this season. Chet Holmgren. So when he comes back, it's only gonna be even better, even better for OKC. So yeah, OKC's got one of the brightest futures in the league, and this year, they've shown why. They have really good young players, really good team, and they play really well together. So if they keep it up in the second half of the year, they can definitely be in that playing spot. It's gonna be very tough because they have the least experience of all the teams fighting for that playing spot. They have the least kind of experience and the youngest team out of all of them, which might hinder them in their race. But I mean, who knows what can happen this NBA season? If they just stay calm and keep playing how they're playing, they can definitely get in there. Next at 17, we got the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks 29 and 30, eighth in the Eastern Conference. Some stats there: eighth in points per game. They're first in field goals made per game, second in field goal attempts. But their three-point shooting is not that great. 27th three-pointers made, 28th in three-pointers attempted, third in turnovers per game. They have the 16th rated offense, 21st rated defense, 23rd in net rating. They've been kind of a disappointment this season too. They made a big acquisition, getting DeJounte Murray to have a star-studded guard lineup with Trey and DeJounte, to try to kind of feed off each other and make a push. After 2 years ago, they were in the conference finals. Then last year, they barely made the playoffs. And then this year, they wanted to make that move to kind of push them up further. But it's honestly only gotten them nowhere. They're back in the eighth spot in the Eastern Conference. It's been just very weird watching them. They had some okay moments, but they also had some very questionable moments. Especially with Trey Young not being an all-star this year, being very kind of inefficient, and not being kind of the same Trey Young we're used to seeing. The John Collins situation is kind of crazy. They can't really hit shots from three. Their bench is still young and very solid, but it's just a lot of stuff they're working through and trying to figure it out. And it just hasn't really, the DeJounte thing hasn't really worked. I mean, they're under 500. They're still eighth in the East, and they're going to be in the play-in, but they haven't really taken that step, to being consistently like in the playoff. Like they made the conference finals, then they made the playoffs. This year was supposed to be a jump back up to like fifth, sixth, maybe being in there. They've honestly took a step back this season, which sucks. But I mean, they gambled. They gambled on the DeJounte Murray thing, hoping it would work. Hasn't worked so far, but they're still, still got the end of this season and next year to see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then I don't know. Probably gonna have to just DeJounte is gonna be free agent very soon as well, so I probably just walk if it doesn't work out over there. Um, and the thing is, I don't really know what it is that we can do to fix the Hawks. You know, it's not like, I mean, they do need some better players, but it's not like they need to make a big trade and they can't really, don't have the assets to make another big trade. They have some really good role players. They got Trey playing like Trey. You know, DeJounte's been very good this season. Probably the coaching, Nick McMillan has been in the hot seat. He probably won't be there next year. It's just a very weird situation in Atlanta, and I don't know what they're gonna do to fix it. But I mean, I think they just need to string together some wins. Honestly, I think if they can just string together some wins in the second half of the year, they could be good. You know. Now we're going to 16th. 16th ranked is the Golden State Warriors, the reigning champs at 29 and 29, ninth in the Western Conference. Look at their stats offensively. They're second in points per game. They're first in the NBA in three-pointers made and three-pointers attempted. They're third in three-point percentage, first in assist. Also some weird things out there. The worst free throw team getting to the line. They're the worst in three free throws made. They take the least free throws per game. They're also 29th in turnovers, which is not good. The Rockets are the only team that has more turnovers per game than Golden State. Um, the 12th rated offense, the 20th rated defense, the third effective field goal percentage, seventh true shooting percentage. They're I think 22-7 at home, 7-22 on the road. It's been a very weird year. You know, they started off very rough, losing a lot of games, and they kind of brought it back together. Steph Curry's been injured for a lot of this year. He had two injuries. He first had the shoulder injury, which he missed a lot of time, but the Warriors actually got better during that run, and then Steph came back, and they're going on a little bit of a good run, and then Steph gets hurt again with his leg, and now they're back to 500. Steph, he's been very good this year. He's an all-star starter, but the injuries have really hindered him. Clay, um, took a little while, but Clay slowly getting back to Clay. He still has some inefficient nights here and there. Wiggins has been good, but he has been injured a lot recently. Draymond's been Draymond. Jordan Poole has been very up and down. He has his moments, but it hasn't really looked the same as playoff Jordan Poole last year. And then their depth is really like hit or miss. Their depth at one night, DiVincenzo can have 18 off the bench. Anthony Lamb can hit a couple of shots, and then all of a sudden, you know, it looks great. And then there's another night where DiVincenzo is 1 for 8, and Anthony Lamb doesn't score, and Jonathan Kuminga's out there. Moses Moody's just out there running, and it's like, you know, they're going for the younger approach of trying to compete for championships while still developing, growing young players. But it hasn't really worked out this year. They traded away James Wiseman finally. Kuminga's had some moments. Moses Moody hasn't been great. He's still trying to find his way. But yeah, they're still trying to do the thing where they develop the young players while still competing, which shown this year that it doesn't work that well. It's not as smooth as you would think it is. It's still Golden State, so you kind of do give them the benefit of the doubt because it's Golden State and I mean, they won four of the last, they've won four of the last like 6 championships. So it's like, you know, eventually, or four of the last 7 championships. Sorry. Um, so you know, eventually they're gonna be there. You know, or four of the last 8. Oh my God, four of the last 8 championships. Um, so you know, when playoff times comes, they're gonna be in there. But it's just if they're gonna get to the playoffs, because how tight the West is this year. It's a very, you know, one win can drop you so low, and one win can bring you up a few spots. So really, it's just about for the Warriors just trying to get Steph Curry healthy, staying consistent enough to get into the play. They're a team where I feel like they're cool with whatever spot they get into. They'll feel confident, you know, because they've been here before. They know they're not trying to fight for the fifth, sixth seed, even though it'd be cool. But they're not like gun ho. We need to get fifth or sixth. Like they know if they can get like seventh in the West, they'll feel confident. Even eighth, if they just make it into the play and in the playoffs, will have to win 2 playing games, get into the playoffs. They feel confident in themselves, you know. But yeah, they still got some injuries to kind of deal with, and still have to get better defensively and be better on the road. Stop turning the ball over. Now we're in the middle of the pack, 15th, the most average team in the league. 15th, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves are 31-30. They're 8th in the Western Conference. Some notes: they're 10th in points per game, 4th in field goal percentage. They're 25th in offensive rebounds, 26th rebounding, which, you know, they got Rudy Gobert, but besides that, Karl-Anthony Towns missed a lot of the year, so their rebounding's not that good. They're 28th in turnovers per game. They're 6th in 3-point. Um, oh god, steals per game. I don't know why I said 3 point steals per game. They're 19th rated offense, 12th rated defense, 18th in net rating. Um, they started off very bad and were a big disappointment. The Rudy Gobert, Anthony Towns thing wasn't really working well. Anthony Edwards was still trying to find his rhythm, trying to play with Rudy Gobert. D'Angelo Russell's struggling very much. Then Anthony Towns gets hurt. Rudy Gobert has been in and out of the lineup. Anthony Edwards slowly, as the season come on, went starting to take off. He made his first All-Star game. Rudy Gobert has been solid. D'Angelo Russell was getting a lot better until getting traded. Now the Timberwolves have Mike Conley, which I really like, a veteran presence for them. Jaden McDaniels has had some moments. Nazaree's been playing really well. Jalen Noel has been a bucket getter off the bench. Kyle Anderson's been an amazing pickup. Still don't have any news on Anthony Towns or when he's going to come back. Hopefully it's very soon. Because I honestly forget sometimes that he's on the team. Rudy is still a project. You know, their defense has not been as good as people expected with Rudy Gobert there. He hasn't really fit in as well, especially with what they gave up. I don't think the Timberwolves are ever gonna get what they gave up for Rudy. I don't think they're ever gonna get that value back. You know, because this team's probably not gonna win it. I mean, it's only been 1 year, but this team's probably not gonna win a championship unless they make some big jumps. You know, this year they might not even make the playoffs. Rudy hasn't really been a great fit for this team. He hasn't been locking it down defensively like he used to. He hasn't had as many blocks as he used to. He was kind of conflicting with Anthony Edwards and on the court in terms of Rudy's in the paint, so Ant can't really get to the paint as much as he wants to. Now it's a lot different. Now Anthony Edwards just does what he wants. But yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna get that value back for Rudy. I mean, they gave up so much, bro. Like, you look back at the trade, they gave up, oh my god, for Rudy Gobert. Insane. But yeah, but they got a lot better. They're 15th now in the power rankings. They're 8th in the West. They're in there. So hopefully Anthony Edwards can carry this team to a playoff spot. 14th, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are 30-29. They're 7th in the West. They're 11th in points per game. They're 29th in three-point attempts. They're not a big three-point shooting team. They're second in steals. They have a 17th rated offense, 9th rated defense, 12th in net rating. This was a team that got off to an amazing start. They're one of the top 3 seeds in the West at one point early in the year when they were playing amazing. Zion was playing at an amazing level. CJ was doing great things. They had guys like Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall really contributing, Larry Nance. But then, you know, Zion gets injured, Brandon Ingram gets injured, and then they go on a big 12-game losing streak. They fall down out of the play-in from like 3. They fell from like 3 to 11 in like 2 weeks. But then Bi comes back, and you know, Bi took a few games, but then he starts to show up, and they're getting back into it now. They're 7th in the Western Conference. Don't know when Zion's gonna come back. He was still named an All-Star starter, but missed a lot of time with a hamstring, and then he re-aggravated his hamstring, so he's gonna be out another few weeks, which really sucks. But besides that, I mean, this Pelicans team is very good, and not a team you could take lightly even without Zion. Bi, the last few games before the All-Star break, was really turning up and showing why he's near an All-Star level player. CJ's been a perfect fit for New Orleans ever since he got traded there last year. They have really good role players and guys like Trey Murphy, you know, Jose Alvarado, Najee Marshall, you know, who can go off and have big games off the bench. They picked up Josh Richardson as a very underrated pickup, a veteran player that could play on both ends. He could fit in with that team. Jonas Valanciunas, you figure he's still on the team. He can have a big game for you. I really like how this Pelicans team is constructed. Definitely the injuries really set them back. If not for the injuries, they probably would still be in the top 5 in the West right now. But this team is gonna be for the next few years, as long as they can stay healthy, which is a huge if, but can be in the playoffs for the next few years. And they're a team that definitely a first round team definitely wouldn't want to see. Like a top seed, because if they finish around this 7, 6, 8 mark, they're gonna play a team like Memphis or like the Clippers, the Kings, and they're not a team you could take lightly. They're a team that definitely could take some games off a top seed and make it a lot harder than it needs to be. You know, but yeah, just hoping for health for that team. 13th got the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are 32 and 27th. 32 and 27. They're seventh in the Eastern Conference. Their offensive numbers are crazy. They look horrible. Their offensive numbers. They average the least amount of points per game. They're the least in field goals made. 29th field goal percentage. 28th in 3-point percentage. They're 27th in rebounds per game. They're second in free throw percentage though. Fifth in turnovers. Third in steals. They're the worst shot blocking team in the league. They're 26th in offensive rating, but they're a top 5 defense. Number 5 in the NBA in defense. They're 20th in net rating. Yeah, I've said it a few times, but this team is a playoff team more than a regular season team. Regular season, they're gonna have their moments where they look okay. They're gonna have their moments where the offense looks horrible. Don't have a lot of depth. Don't have a lot of shooting on this team. Their team, though, regular season is gonna look okay. They're gonna have their moments, but they're not gonna blow anybody away. But then when it comes to the playoffs, they're a team that you have to fear, kind of. You know, they might be 6th or 7th, but when the playoffs come, they do not play like a 6 or 7 spot. They play like a top team, and they're gonna grit and grind their way. They're constructed like a playoff team. You know, they don't have a lot of shooting. They're more of a half court kind of base team. They play really good defense. They have switchability everywhere. They're always around, you know, and they hit the shots when they really need to. And Jimmy Butler also turns up in the playoffs. So yeah, they're definitely gonna give a lot of trouble to a top team. If they do get 6 or 7, they're gonna have to play a Philadelphia team or a Milwaukee team, which is gonna be very tough. You know, for Milwaukee and Philly, especially Philly, I feel like to beat that Miami Heat team, because that's just how they are. They're a playoff team more than a regular season team. But yeah, very excited to see the Kevin Love edition and what he brings. He's wearing number 42 again, which I love. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna see what they can do the second half of the year. You know, Brooklyn might be falling a little bit, so you know, Miami maybe can jump to 6th, back to 6th, because they kind of lost their spot because New York went on a little run at that before the All Star break. We're gonna see. But yeah, when it comes, I'm really excited to see this team come playoff time because they're a playoff team more than a regular season team. Speaking of Brooklyn, they're 12th on my power ranking list. 12th, 34 and 24, 5th in the Eastern Conference. And they're kind of here. I would have put them a little bit lower because I think they're definitely gonna, lose a lot more games because of the whole Katie, Kyrie are gone now, and they just have a bunch of role players. But I feel like I still have to put them kind of 12th because their record is still good, and I feel like they're still gonna be competitive. They're not gonna lose a lot of games, or they're gonna go on like a 8-9 game losing streak and just be boring. Like they're gonna be still competitive and fun to watch and gritty. Really good defense team that has some players like Spencer Dinwiddie can go off one night, Cam Thomas can go off one night, Mikal Bridges can go off one night. But ultimately they're not gonna be probably. I would bet. I would be very surprised if they're still 5th in the East by the time the regular season ends. You know, like they're gonna lose some games just because they don't have enough talent, to kind of keep up. But they're definitely not gonna lose by 20, or they're gonna be like gonna go on a big losing streak. They're gonna still be kind of competitive. They're still gonna get some games just because. With the team they have players that can go off and hit big shots and play good defense, but they just don't have enough star power to keep up. But very excited to watch this team second half of the year. They're going to be a very fun team to watch. Now 11th, I have the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks are 31 and 29. They're 6th in the Western Conference. Some knows, they're 21st in points per game. They're 29th in field goals made. They take the least amount of shots per game. 30th field goals attempted. They're 3rd in 3-pointers made. 3rd in 3-pointers attempted. They're 29th in offensive rebounds. 29th in defense. They're the worst rebounding team in the league. 29th in assists per game. 2nd in turnovers per game, though. They're 8th offensive rating. 24th defensive rating. 15th in net rating. Honestly, I kind of only put them up here because they have Luka and Kyrie. That's really it. Like, if they didn't have Luka and Kyrie, this team would probably be, like, 15th. Because you look at this team, numbers-wise, they look, like, not that great. Because it's all really Luka. All these stats are basically Luka-centered. It's basically Luka versus all other teams. Yeah, they don't have really good roster around Luka and Kyrie. But just because they have Luka and Kyrie, they're going to win games and they're going to be competitive in the playoffs. Just because Luka by himself can win you a series, and then adding Kyrie in there, they're going to win. some playoff games and make it tight on some teams. But ultimately, this team just isn't good enough to make it far, just because they don't have anybody outside those two that can really consistently, dribble the ball and hit shots when they need to. I really like Josh Green, you know, but besides that, they don't really have much else. The defense has really fallen off. Last year in the playoffs, they really kind of relied on their defense to get to the conference finals. Um, but now their defense has really just dropped off as the season's gone on. And losing Dorian Finney-Smith and not getting really anyone to replace him really hurts. Um, yeah. This team is just gonna be okay. They're gonna win some games in the playoffs, but they're not a team to be. I don't know. Just looking around at the other teams above them, I just don't see a world where they're better than fifth or sixth in the West. You know. Now we'll get to the top 10. Uh, Number 10 coming in the power rankings is the New York Knicks. They're 33 and 27, sixth in the Eastern Conference. So numbers, they're 14th in points per game. They're second in offensive rebound, third in rebounding. A good rebounding team. They're tied with Dallas for 29th in assists per game. They're fourth in turnovers, seventh in offense, 15th rated defense, eighth in net rating. They're on a 3-game winning streak, 3-0 with Josh Hart in the roster, which is an amazing pick, and he fits in perfectly. Jalen Brunson has played amazing this year. Julius Randle is back to all-star level. Has some moments from Quinn Grimes, Mayo quickly, Isaiah Hartenstein. I really like this team. They're very well put together. They're gritty. They play on the defensive end and the offense. They don't really pass the ball a lot, but they got ISO players that can get buckets when they need to. And I think this team is gonna be very good come playoff time. They could jump to fifth. A matchup with Cleveland in the first round, that'd be a very good matchup. And they're a team that could definitely give Cleveland or maybe a team if they do play Philly, some trouble in the first round because they have a really good team I really like. RJ Barrett's been very disappointing this season. He hasn't really taken the jump that we all thought he could take. He's kind of a little bit taking a back step because Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle have been playing so well. I mean, they got a lot of other bright things in New York. So, yeah. Number 9, I have the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns were probably one of the weirder teams to rank because, again, Kevin Durant hasn't played a game yet. And when he comes, they're obviously going to be better. So, they're very tough to rank. I just put them 9 here for now. They're 32 and 28, fifth in the Western Conference. Their stats are 22nd in points per game, fifth in three-point percentage, third in assists per game. They're 18th rated offense, 8th rated defense, 11th in net rating. They started the year off very well with Devin Booker playing at an MVP type level, players hitting shots, and then Devin Booker gets hurt. Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton both get hurt as well, and they just fall bad. They go from like top 3 to like 11th, 12th in the West. But then Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton comes back, and they slowly get better and better and better, move up into that playing spot, and then Devin Booker comes back, and now they're all the way up to 5th. And now they make the Kevin Durant trade. That's only going to make them get better. I was thinking about me putting them a little bit higher, but I feel like just for now, just because we don't know what Kevin Durant is, how it's going to look like on the court yet. I mean, I say it's going to get better, which obviously they should get better, but you never know really what's going to happen. So I just put them here 9th for now because I think they're going to be a really good team. It's just we don't know how good they're going to be yet. They're a team that's really, with the trade deadline, kind of won the trade deadline and was turned into a contender again after things were looking really dim. With their window, it looked like it was kind of running out. But if Kevin Durant come in and mesh well with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, this team can, the sky's the limit for this team. Really excited to see it, to see them on the court together. At 8, we got the Sacramento Kings. Might be a little bit disrespectful here. They're 32 and 25, third in the West. They average the most points per game in the league. They're third in field goal percentage, fifth in assists. They're 29th in blocks. They're the second rated offense, but the 22nd rated defense, and seventh in net rating. Their offense has been amazing. Can't really say much. I mean, all offensive categories, they're near the top end. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis are both all-stars, playing very well. Kevin Huerter has had a really good year. Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray has been very solid on the wings. They got guys like Malik Monk, Terrence Davis have come off the bench. Trey Lyles, and they provided some really good sparks for them. Their offense has been amazing. Their offense is really, really good, and that's how they're third in the West. But their defense is just not that great. They started out very well defensively, and Mike Brown has tried to install this defense in him, but it's just they don't have a lot of the personnel. Darren Fox is solid, but he's got a lot of work offensively. Kevin Herter isn't really a defender. Demonis Sabonis is a defensive center. They have Barnes and Murray who are solid, but then you got like Malik Monk, Terry Davis are literally out there to score. Trey Lyles is okay, but I mean, like he's not going out there to play defense. Um, yeah. So their defense is kind of what's setting them back, and because they're inexperienced. And if you look at teams I put above them, if the Kings were to play any of the teams I have above them, I would pick the other team over Sacramento, just because they don't have a lot of experience. They're younger. Their defense isn't that good, even though their offense is insane. Their offense is incredible. Mike Brown has to be near the top in Coach of the Year considerations. He's been amazing this year. Can't really say much more about him, but it's just yeah. I mean, the Kings, the first time being here in what 16 years. Um, Happy for them, but I got them at 8 in my power rankings. All right, at 7, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 7. They're 38 and 23, fourth in the Eastern Conference. They're 26th in points per game, 27th in field goal percentage. Their numbers on offense aren't the best, but they are fifth in field goal percentage. They're 27th in field goals attempted, I would say. Fifth in field goal percentage. They're 10th in offense, but they're first in defense. Second in net rating. They're one of 2 teams that are top 10 in both offense and defense. Yeah, they have been incredible on defense this year. Donovan Mitchell has gone there, and he has taken a huge leap into superstardom. Darius Garland's had a very solid year, even though he's missed a lot of time. Evan Mobley's taken some steps. Jared Allen's been good. Besides that, it's just their role players aren't that great. Karis LeVert has been very disappointing this year. Guys like Jetty Osman and Isaac Coro. Isaac Coro has taken some steps on the offensive end, but yeah, haven't really been in their shots as well. Haven't been as good. They bought out Kevin Love. They had some good moments and some kind of up and down moments this season. They were on a 7-game winning streak before losing to Philly their last game before the All-Star break. Yeah, this team is still very good though. You look at it, this team, when you watch them play, you could tell they're a top team because they play very well on both ends of the ball. The best defensive team in the league. Those big men down there, and then on the wing, they have some very solid players that try. It's just their offense just needs to be consistent. If they're role players, it's gonna come down to their role players just being able to hit shots. They don't all have to hit 4 threes. As long as if they can just be consistent and maybe give us 1 or 2 threes, then that'd be good. But I mean, yeah, this team's never gonna be really tough, really hard to handle in the playoffs. If they win their first matchup, they're probably gonna have to go up against a Boston or Milwaukee team, which is gonna be very tough. But they have the defense where they can make it tough on those top teams. I wouldn't say that. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win those series, but they're gonna make it tough. 6, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. They're 38 and 19. They're third in the Eastern Conference. They're 16th in points per game. They're 29th in field goals attempted. Don't take a lot of shots because they take a lot of free throws. They're fourth in 3-point percentage. They're the best free throw shooting team in the league. First in free throw percentage. They're 28th in rebounding, which is very weird. But I mean, they don't really have a good backup center. They're the 6th rated offense and the 6th rated defense, which it's fitting that they're 6th in power rankings. And they're 4th in net rating. They got off to a very slow start, but as time went on, they've gotten a lot better. Joel Embiid is in the MVP conversation. He's been great. James Harden has had a revived season. Tyrese Maxey's had some moments off the bench. D'Anthony Melton's been a good pickup. PJ Tucker's been PJ Tucker. Tobias has been a little up and down, but he's starting to get a little more consistent. The role players have been very solid. They're very good defensively, which is huge for them. Offense are going to be there. I mean, with Joel, Tyrese, Harden, the guys they got, offensively they're going to be good. But it's been their defense that's really kind of surprised me, being a top 10 defense. I'm sorry. When I say Cleveland's one of 2 teams with top 10 defense, I meant they're one of 3 teams. So my back is Philly's in there too, top 10. in offense and defense. Um, and yeah, this team is going to be very, honestly, probably the team I'm most eager to see in the playoffs. Just because I feel like this year there's a lot of pressure on them in the playoffs to make it out of the second round, at least, and make it to a conference finals appearance, or at least show up and be competitive. The last few years it's been very disappointing. They've had some chances to get far and just didn't. But this year, James Harden said this is my best chance to win a championship here. Joel's playing like an MVP. Their team, they have the team to do it. They have the players to do it. It's just can James Harden be consistent in the playoffs? And can their role players step up when they need to? That's really what it's going to come down to. But yeah, second half of the year, they're probably just going to be good still. Chill out, be a top four team in the East. Playoffs comes, that's when I really want to see them. Now we're finally down to our top five in the power rankings. At number five, I have the Memphis Grizzlies at number five. They're 35 and 22, second in the Western Conference. They're ninth in points per game, fourth in field goals made, third in field goals attempted. They're the worst free throw shooting team in the league, 30th field goal percentage. The third offensive rebound, fourth in defensive rebounds, second in total rebounds per game. They're fourth in steals, second in blocks. The 15th rated offense with the third rated defense and fifth in net rating. Their defense is really, really good. Their offense has gone a lot average as the season went on. They were on an 11-game win streak at one point, trying to battle with Denver for the number one seed in the West. And then it kind of fell as the season after that 11-game win streak kind of fell. They went on a little losing streak. Their offense just hasn't looked as good as it used to be, but their defense is kind of saving them still. Ja's been amazing this season. Desmond Bain has had a lot of injury problems, so that's really hurt them. Jaren is probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he made the All-Star team. Injuries to Steven Adams as well kind of hurt this team. Dylan Brooks has been kind of inconsistent. And their bench, their reserves, haven't been as good as they were last year when they shocked the league and won 56 games. This year, their depth hasn't really been as good as it used to be, which I feel like is a reason why they've kind of slipped a little bit. But they're still been second in the West for a while. And they're probably going to stay that way. But yeah, they just need to get their injuries settled, and they need to get their offense back to what it was. And if they can do that, they can be a very dangerous team. But they say they're fine out west, so we'll see. Number 4, I have the Los Angeles Clippers at number 4. This one is the one where it's like, oh, okay. They're 33-28. They're fourth in the Western Conference. 27th points per game. They're 21st rated offense. Top 10 defense. At number 10. They went on a little run to finish fourth in the Western Conference. I'm kind of more projecting a little bit as well with this pick. But I don't know. I just really like the Clippers. I really like this team. You got Kawhi, Paul George. Kawhi's been playing amazing. Paul George has been good. He was an all-star. But then the role players, they made some really good moves to the deadline. They're picking up Russell Westbrook, which I think is really good for this team. Zubac has been great. Terrence Mann has been really good ever since he became a starter. And then you just pick up 3 really good players, Bones Highland, Eric Gordon, and Mason Plumlee at the trade deadline that really fit in with this team and really address all the concerns they've had. They still got Marcus Morris, who's kind of like a firecracker. A little bit like you don't know what he's going to do. You still got Nick Batum, a very solid vet. Robert Covington and Amir Coffey can play when they need to kind of help them and in certain spots when they need to. But I really like this team, man. I really do. I really like this team. And they're a team that I said a little while ago that they're dark horse contenders for me. And I predict them. They're a top 5 team, in my opinion. Hopefully they have a really good second half of the year, and they can kind of just get it together, play games together, get comfortable with each other. And if they do, they're a scary team. At number 3, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the third best team in the league. 41-17, second in the East, coming to All-Star break on a 12-game winning streak. They're 13th in points per game. They're 4th in three-pointers made and attempted. They're the best rebounding team in the league. They're 22nd in offense, but they're 2nd in defense. And they're 6th in net rating. They start off the year very good, 6-0. What that feels like so long ago. Then Chris Middleton was in and out of the lineup. Giannis got hurt, and they were kind of going up and down. You know, they're still good record wise and standing wise, but just didn't feel like the same Milwaukee Bucks team. But then Chris Middleton and Giannis come back, and this Bucks team just looks insane now. They look like a championship team again. Giannis is playing at an MVP type level. Chris Middleton's been very good off the bench. Drew Holiday made the All Star team. Brook Lopez has looked very well. They've had guys like Bobby Portis, Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen been chipping in, hitting shots for them. And when their shooters are hitting, Joe Ingles, I love what I've seen from Joe Ingles in Milwaukee, kind of being like their backup point guard in a way. They finally got Jay Crowder, who they've been looking for all year. Um, and this team is super, super dangerous, man. Like, I really consider him going number two, putting number two, because I just really love this team, and they have that championship experience already. Come playoff time, they're going to be super dangerous, especially if they're playing the way they're playing right now. This team's going to be dangerous, you know. Um, and yeah, their team I would not like to face. Their team I would try to stay away from and not play, because they're dangerous, man. They really are. At number two, I got the Denver Nuggets. They're 41-18, best team in the West by a margin. They're sixth in points per game, second in field goals made, the best field goal shooting team in the league, first in field goal percentage, first in 3-point percentage. They're second in assists, the best offense in the league, 13th defense, third in net rating. This team has kind of just been chilling at the top of the West for a little while. Memphis was trying to fight with them, but then Memphis kind of fell. So they've been chilling. Nikola Jokic is on his way, looking like he's going to win his third straight MVP. Jamal Murray, even though he's missed the last few games, he looks like he's slowly coming back. Michael Porter Jr. has been solid. Aaron Gordon has taken a big jump this season. Yeah, they picked up Reggie Jackson to trade on the buyout market to replace Bones Highland. Hopefully he can bring some offense. Love guys like Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, are getting in there. Christian Brown, they're getting in there and doing what they need to. KCP has been amazing shooting this season. They picked up Thomas Bryant at the trade deadline, who I think is a very good get. A really good big backup big. And this Nuggets team is a team that I really like watching. I mean, they have Jokic. They're going to be very good in the playoffs. They're a team I'm very interested to see as well, because they're a team that a lot of people, pick to go far, to the conference finals, maybe to the NBA finals. Now with Phoenix in there, a little bit tougher for them to get there, but I feel like they could get there definitely with this team. They play like a team. They have really good role players. They have a superstar, two very good, potentially also level players, and Murray and Gordon, and really good role players surrounding them, which is I think like the format to win nowadays. Not a super team, but just a really good, well constructed roster. Yeah, I still really, really, really like this team in the West, even though Phoenix has now moved up there a little bit in the Western Conference, and the Clippers are getting a lot better. But this Nuggets team is still not one to mess with. And finally, number one in power rankings, probably so obvious, is the Boston Celtics. They've been basically the best team in the league all season. They're 42-17, best record in the league, fourth in points per game. They're second in three-pointers made, attempted. They're seventh in three-point percentage, third in defensive rebounding, sixth in rebounding. They're third in offense, fourth in defense, and the only team top five in both offense and defense, first in net rating. They basically had the best record all year. Went through some ups and downs, but a lot more ups, and they look amazing. They're probably the title favorites right now. Jason Tatum has taken an MVP level jump. Jaylen Brown has probably the best second option in the NBA right now. Guys like Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, been really good. Grant Williams has been really good. Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White have been fantastic pickups for them. They even had guys like Sam Hauser and Michael Muscala hitting threes out there. They're probably the most dangerous team, the best team in the league. Just look at this team from top to bottom. I mean, this team is really well constructed. Brad Stevens did an amazing job with this. Joe Mazzulla is now the full-time head coach after just being thrusted in there at the start of the year with the whole Ime Udoka situation. And now he's coaching the All-Star game on track to win a Coach of the Year award. And now he's the full-time head coach for the Celtics at 34 years old. So he's handled this situation great. Their players have just been very, very good. They're the favorites to win the title, and for good reason. We watch them play. They look like a title team. They already had that experience from last year. They've had players like Brown and Tatum and then make jumps. They have players like Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, and Derek White who are just really sound and just know, and Al Horford as well, obviously. They just know their role, know how to play, but also if they need to step up in their role, they can because they have experience with that. Um, Team's gonna be tough to beat. You're gonna have to beat this team 4 times, and I don't see many teams beating them. I don't see a lot, most teams beating this team 4 times in a series. It could happen, absolutely. You still got the Milwaukee and Denver, maybe Phoenix in the matchup in the finals out there. But I mean, try to beat this team 4 times, you're gonna you're gonna have to play at your absolute peak best. I feel like to beat this team 4 times. You know, like this team is really really good, and I just can't wait to see what they can do in the playoffs. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's my power rankings at the NBA All Star break. Um, yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow.